Imagine standing next to a wolf, fierce and majestic, its sharp eyes scanning the forest. Now, picture a pug struggling to breathe, its tiny frame barely able to keep up. Ever wonder how we got from that powerful predator to this fragile, toy-like creature? And the real question, what have we done to dogs? And where are we taking them next in few years? Dogs are often called man's best friend, but let's face it, our friendship might have turned a little toxic. We've taken an incredible animal, molded by millions of years of evolution, and twisted it into shapes and sizes that suit our whims more than their well-being. This isn't just about looks. It's about health, survival, and the future of our canine companions. Let's dive deep into the story of how humans might have ruined dogs. It all started thousands of years ago, during the Ice Age. Vast, frozen landscapes, and a pack of gray wolves, Canis lupus, stalking their prey. These creatures were the pinnacle of evolution, fine-tuned hunters with keen senses. They could hear a twig snap from miles away, smell a distant herd of deer, and work together to take down animals much larger than themselves. Their survival depended on their strength, intelligence, and adaptability. But some wolves took a risk. Hungry and cold, they ventured closer to human campfires, drawn by the smell of meat. At first, they were cautious, but slowly, they began to trust these strange, upright creatures. Humans, in turn, saw potential. A partnership formed. Wolves provided protection and hunting skills, and in return, they got food, warmth. Over time, this bond grew stronger, marking the beginning of domestication. Fast forward a few thousand years, and those wolves evolved into a new species, Canis familiaris, the domestic dog. Early humans started selecting wolves that were less aggressive and more cooperative. These changes weren't just behavioral, they were physical too. Lower adrenaline levels led to changes in coat color, body size, and even ear shape. This was the start of what scientists call domestication syndrome. At first, these changes were subtle, driven by necessity. Dogs were bred to help with hunting, herding, and guarding. Different regions developed different types of dogs, each suited to their environment and tasks. But as societies advanced, so did our manipulation of dogs. Enter the concept of breeds. Humans began to select dogs for specific traits, size, color, temperament. The goal wasn't survival anymore, it was about aesthetics and status. In ancient China, emperors bred short-snouted dogs like the pug, considering them symbols of wealth and power. These dogs were pampered, even given titles and treated like royalty. But this obsession with specific traits came at a cost. Let's talk about the pug. Today, it's one of the most recognizable breeds, known for its squashed face and big, expressive eyes. But behind that cute appearance lies a story of suffering. The flat face that makes pugs so distinctive also makes it hard for them to breathe. Their tiny nostrils and compressed airways mean they struggle to get enough oxygen. Every snort and wheeze isn't just a quirky sound. It's a sign of distress. This isn't a natural trait. It's the result of generations of selective breeding. Early pugs had shorter snouts, but they were still functional. Over time, breeders prioritized appearance over health, exaggerating features to meet a certain standard. The result? An animal that's more fragile than fierce. And pugs aren't alone. Bulldogs, French bulldogs, and boxers, all brachycephalic breeds, face similar issues. They're prone to a range of health problems, from respiratory issues to skin infections. On average, pugs are 54 times more likely to develop airway syndrome than other dogs. They're 51 times more likely to have narrow nostrils and 13 times more likely to suffer from corneal ulcers. It's a long list of ailments for such a small dog. Let's reveal a royal mistake. So how did we get here? A lot of it traces back to the Victorian era. In the 19th century, Queen Victoria of England became fascinated with pugs and other exotic breeds. This sparked a trend among the elite, who began breeding dogs to meet specific standards of beauty and temperament. The goal was to create the perfect dog, but the methods were flawed. To maintain certain traits, breeders often resorted to inbreeding, pairing close relatives. It's the same reason European royal families faced genetic problems. The Habsburgs, for example, married within their family to keep power, leading to generations of children with severe deformities and health issues. The same thing happened with dogs. Inbreeding amplified genetic defects, making each generation more fragile than the last. Today, purebred dogs are big business. Shows, competitions, and breeding programs create a demand for dogs that meet very specific standards. But these standards don't always prioritize health. Instead, they often emphasize extreme traits: shorter snouts, smaller bodies, unique coat patterns. And the problems persist. Even with modern breeding regulations, many purebred dogs are still prone to genetic disorders. Hip dysplasia, heart disease, and neurological issues are common, and brachycephalic breeds continue to suffer the most. They're born into a life of struggle simply because we find their appearance appealing. The ethical dilemma. What are we really looking for? This raises an important question. Why do we choose these breeds? Is it for companionship, or is it for status? Some people treat dogs like accessories, choosing breeds that look cute or trendy. We've gone from hunting alongside these animals to carrying them in purses and pushing them in strollers. It's a far cry from the partnership that began thousands of years ago. But dogs aren't toys. They're living beings with needs, instincts, and emotions. When we prioritize appearance over well-being, we're not just making a cosmetic choice, we're impacting their quality of life. Every wheeze, every struggle to breathe is a reminder of the consequences of our actions. Looking forward, a call for change. So, what does the future hold for dogs? If we continue down this path, the outlook isn't promising. Breeds will become more fragile, more prone to disease, and further removed from their natural state. But it doesn't have to be this way. There's a growing movement advocating for ethical breeding practices. Some breeders are focusing on health over appearance, prioritizing genetic diversity and avoiding inbreeding. As dog owners and lovers, we have a role to play too. Educating ourselves about the realities of purebred dogs can help us make more informed choices. Adopting from shelters, supporting ethical breeders, and spreading awareness can make a difference. Dogs have been by our side for thousands of years. They've protected us, hunted with us, and offered unconditional loyalty. In return, we owe them more than a life of suffering. It's time to rethink our relationship with these incredible animals. Let's honor their legacy, not by turning them into status symbols, but by ensuring they live healthy, happy lives.